Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Babbling Eyes breakdown video with myself and Sloth today. Adam Hlozek is a player that's been linked with us for quite a while now. It's come back round again, and it could be available for just 12 million this summer, according to the Mirror. And it says West Ham are in pursuit of the Bayer Leverkusen forward, who could be snapped up, as I mentioned, on a bargain £12 million deal. So, just as an overview before we get into the breakdown, he's still only 21 years old, currently at Bayer Leverkusen. Main position is striker or kind of second striker, playing in a two. Right-footed, valued at around 12 million euros or 12 million pounds, as the Mirror is reporting. 6'1", obviously from Czechia, and contract expires in 2027. So, frustratingly, the data we normally collect for the statistics had him kind of compared as an attacking midfielder. So we couldn't really get the data for this one, but we've got a couple of other things that will be interesting to see. So just to give you a breakdown of what we're mentioning there, the games he's played so far this season, a lot of them have come from that centre forward position for Bayer Leverkusen. A lot of them have also come from second striker, and he's played a little bit as an attacking midfielder and a left winger. So it's an interesting one because it's a player we've been linked with a couple of times now, Sloth. He's still only 21 years old. Clearly has a lot of high ratings, a lot of potential if he was signed by Leverkusen in the first place. And again, you can kind of see his breakdown of his stats this season. Only 1,000 minutes across the board, so not a lot at all. But still managed to get a return of 7 goals, 5 assists in those minutes, which is actually pretty good. So, 12 goals and assists in 1,000 minutes. That's not bad going in terms of the impact he's normally made as a substitute. So, what's your overall thoughts on Hlozek as a player and the link we've now got with him for coming to West Ham?
I've been a fan of him for quite a while. Obviously, he was at Sparta Prague, where we know Krasinski was the owner as well. So it's the chances that we were going to be linked with him, I think, were pretty high.
Yeah.
Obviously, now he's moved to a different club. It's taken away any issues that certain clubs seem to have encountered in their ownership groups and signing players from them. I think for £12 million, it would be a really, really good signing. Obviously, as we mentioned, he's only played 1,000 minutes of football this season, but he's done so all over the park. And if there's one thing that Leverkusen did this season, it's score late goals.
Yeah.
They did it against us. They got the name Leverkusen because of it, but he was a big part of that. And 12 goals is not something. 12 goal involvements is not something to be sniffed at, particularly from someone who's only played 1,000 minutes of football. If he came to West Ham, played 1,000 minutes of football, and got that amount of goals and assists, we'd be over the moon. So I think, while it's disappointing, he'll be disappointed himself that he didn't play more for Leverkusen. You can't really knock him for that because they had such a great season, and bar the Europa final, they didn't put a foot wrong. So it's a case of he was very well used, and he can be used across the attacking line. As we mentioned, he's someone who's super versatile, and that's kind of hurt him, I think, a little bit to some degree, in that he hasn't found that set position. But if you're a squad, if you're a team looking for a player who can come in, add goals and assists, this is kind of the perfect transfer for you.
Yeah, and if you compare it to like the signing of Danny Ings, again, don't want to go back to it too much, but he was brought in for, I don't know how much it was in the end, but obviously on high wages, probably around the same figure that's being quoted of 10-12 million pounds. So if you're looking at that, we're probably going to be looking to move Danny Ings on to like a Southampton or something this summer, using those funds for this type of signing would be fantastic. I think for me, as you mentioned, it's not like a marquee, like crazy striker signing who's going to come in and be an instant starter and, blitz the league with 15, 20 goals. I think it'll be, like you mentioned there, someone that's he's still only 21, so lots to learn. But also the versatility is a positive and a negative. I think, even for Czech Republic in their last game recently in the Euros, they play kind of a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1. And he was kind of playing on the left-hand side of Patrick Schick. So again, it's not like he's the main man as a striker. That's my kind of reservation about it. I think for £12 million, it's definitely a good deal. It's definitely an improvement on what we've got as a squad. And I think it offers those options up front, whether it's, you know, someone playing out on the left hand side, whether it's playing as a second striker if we need a goal, if we're, you know, trailing or drawing with half an hour to play. He's obviously 6'1", so he has that kind of physical element to his game as well. It's an interesting link. Is it something you think we should pursue over other targets, or is this more of like a squad signing to replace a Danny Ings for you?
I think if 12 million is the figure, I would move quite quickly for it. It would be a case of what of the deals are available. You know, I'm a big fan of Luton's Adebayo, and I think that if he's available for, like, I mean, I saw he was linked to Everton for £8 million the other day. If he's available for £8 million, go out and get it done. You know, he's on £15,000 a week at Luton, so he's going to be someone who's not going to come in, upset the wage structure. You could double his money and he's still not going to be upsetting the wage structure in any way, shape, or form. So I think the difficulty is this transfer would be excellent if we can move on players. If we can move on, say, Cornet and Ings, then Hlozek and Adebayo are sort of like ideal replacements for them, because they'll bring goals, they'll bring the ability to be, you know, coming in or making an impact off the bench and suiting a sort of younger, pacier and more physical side that we want to build.
Do you think we need to be careful? Because I know I feel like I sound like a broken record on this channel, but we've got so much to do this summer, so much work, and, you know, squad signings and improving the squad is something we've massively placed an emphasis on. So I don't for 100%, I 100% agree. Like, replacing Danny Ings with a Hlozek is fantastic business, or an Adebayo, for example. Does it concern you a little bit that this might be not a squad signing in the eyes of Lopetegui and Steiden, and Hlozek would be brought in to be that starting striker?
I don't think so. I don't think he'd be viewed as that at all, to be honest with you. You know, he's a very talented player, and I think there is a very good striker there in the future, but it's about how he develops, and he could easily, you know, I mean, 1,000 minutes of football is, if he can keep 12 goals and 12 goal contributions across 1,000 minutes, if he can keep up that sort of time ratio, that's mad across a season. So if he were to make that step up, I think it would be because he forces himself into the reckoning. I don't think he'd be viewed as that.
Yeah, I just did the quick maths there. It's a goal or assist every 83 minutes. So that puts into perspective his return, which, you know, that is a fantastic return. That is probably one of the best returns in Europe in terms of attacking goal contributions. So yeah, I think it would be an interesting signing for me. It's definitely not one I feel like it's a nice to have if we're replacing, say, a Danny Ings or a Cornet. As opposed to someone I'd be pushing to be a starting striker, for example. But yeah, I think as a squad addition, it would be fantastic business, especially for 12 million as well. Do you have any reservations that, again, I know you touched on it there, that the fact that he hasn't really been able to nail down a starting striker position for both club and country, really, does that kind of worry you? Or is it, you know, he's still only 21, still learning the game?
Still only 21, still learning the game. You know, he's got Patrick Schick in front of him, who is also at Leverkusen.
Yeah.
And he's had Boniface as well there, someone we've covered on the channel a lot, and you know, we've also been linked with. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to the fact that he's not nailed on a starting position. I think if you said to him coming into a new club, you know, you're going to get chances to be that, and if you take those chances, you know, we will start you in games. Yeah. I think that's what you've kind of got to look at it as, because if he's scoring while he's on the pitch, then surely he deserves that chance. You know, the only reason he wouldn't get it is because, say, we signed someone like Jonathan David, who, you know, we also made a video on, so you can go and check that out as well.
Nice.
If we sign someone like him, the only reason Hlozek is going to be kept out the squad is because David's doing well. So it's very much a case of the good problems that you want to have in football. And if we do this properly, and if we can build with these sort of signings, it's probably going to be. This is the problem with having a small squad. You know, is that when you get to a window where lots of players are leaving or there's a lot of turnover, we look at it and we go, oh wow, we're going to have 9 players coming through the door. And then you look at the squad number and you go, oh, it's only increased it by about 3. So it's not a massive change in terms of how we should be looking to bed in players, but it is a fact that now we've actually got quality as opposed to injury prone players or players who don't suit a system, and players who have got a bit to prove, or maybe they want to try and find a starting position or a club that they can start at.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And obviously the links to Hložek and Sofal as well makes it a little bit easier if he was to join and integrate. Hopefully better than someone like Alex Crowd did. But in terms of out of 10, we always give a transfer a score out of 10 on what it would be. So £12 million. He comes in. West Ham signed Adam Hlozek. What's the rating out of 10 for you, Slough?
For that fee, an 8 or a 9, I think. I rate him, and I know he can be frustrating. He's not always the most exciting player to watch, but he will work hard. He's quick, he's strong, he's 6'1", and he will get involved. He will make things happen, and you see it in his goal contributions. And if he were to bring that to West Ham, I think he'd make himself not only very popular with the fans, but I think he'd make himself an integral part of the squad as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I think for the value, it's £12 million is a fantastic deal, for a 21-year-old who's got a lot of promising talent about him. And yeah, I'd probably give it a 7.5, especially if you consider that we're probably going to sell Danny Ings. Again, it's probably going to be like 6 or 7 million to Southampton or something. But then you're kind of offsetting a lot of the wages as well. So that swap is like an 8.5, 8.5 out of 10, just as a swap. In isolation, I'd give this signing, around a 7.5. But let us know in the comments. Would you be happy to see Hložek join West Ham this summer? Do you think he'd be a good addition to the squad, or would he be a starting striker from the get-go for you? Leave a comment down below. Leave a like on the video as well if you enjoyed the breakdown. Subscribe to the channel for more content. We're posting daily at the moment with lots of breakdowns and stuff coming up. So yeah, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. And yeah, Slough, till the next one.
Come on, you irons.